The qualification standard is a 41-page document. I have read it more times than I can count. I know page 1 better than I know my own service record, and I have known for 3 years exactly whose name sits at the top of it. I knew it the morning Sergeant Major Reeves tore her card in half and dropped the pieces on my table. I did not say anything. That is the plain fact of it, and I am not going to dress it up. It was a pre-deployment skills validation at Kessel Flats, FOB Yardwick, a Thursday in late October with a crosswind already running hard off the canyon wall by 0700. 34 Marines. Full qualification company. Sergeant Major Reeves ran the roster himself that morning, which was unusual. Usually he handed it to me and went to the debrief bay for coffee, and I noticed it without knowing what it meant. He read the names in order. When he got to hers, he stopped. He said it again, slower, like the name itself was an error someone had made. Then he looked at me. Corvin, he said, who put a range safety NCO on the qualification roster. I told him she had submitted the packet through the standard channel 2 days prior. Classification marker on page 2. He picked up the card, looked at it once, and tore it across the middle. Set both halves on my table. Range safety filler, he said. Not a shooter. Fix the roster. He said it in front of all 34 of them. Nobody moved. I picked up the pen and crossed her name off. She was standing 12 feet away. She watched me do it. I did not look up. What I remember most about that moment is the sound the pen made on the clipboard. It was very ordinary, the sound of a line being drawn. I have thought about it since. A small act that takes less than a second and costs nothing and means everything. Captain Yellen found me at the admin table 20 minutes later. He was the company OIC, 31 years old, 2 combat rotations, a man who read every attachment before he signed anything. He asked me what the classification marker on page 2 of her packet designated. I told him I hadn't opened it. He nodded like that was the answer he expected. Then he said he was giving her a conditional slot, his authority as company OIC, and that she could run the qualification if the weather held inside parameters. He said it quietly, not to make a scene of it, just a decision. He signed the amended roster and walked back to the line. I should have asked him what was on page 2. I didn't. I was thinking about the crosswind. By 0930, it was running at 19 knots off the canyon wall, gusting to 23. Sergeant Major Reeves walked the range with a handheld anemometer, and at 0947, he called non-qualifying weather over the range net. Standard procedure. The wind at Kessel Flats comes through a natural corridor in the granite and makes the 600-meter strings unreliable. Not impossible, but unreliable enough that the qualification standard itself includes a weather hold provision. His call was correct and by the book. I was watching her when he made it. She was at the bench, her rifle already staged, her data book open to the wind call page. She looked at the canyon wall for a moment, then at her book. Then she picked up her pencil and wrote something in a margin. Captain Yellen came back to the line and told her the weather hold was in effect. She could stand down and reschedule. She said, I'd like to run it. Yellen looked at Reeves. Reeves looked at the anemometer. 19 knots, down from 23. He shrugged, the kind of shrug that says your time, your score, your problem, and stepped back from the line. She ran the first string at 0959. I'm a range NCO. I have been running qualifications at Kessel Flats for 11 years. I know what the strings look like when a shooter is working inside the crosswind instead of fighting it. Most shooters fight it. They wait for the lull, squeeze into it, hope. She did not wait. She called her own wind at the bench, out loud, to herself, not to anyone in particular, adjusted her elevation, and fired. The group at 600 meters was tight enough that I had to look twice through the spotting scope to count the holes. She ran the second string at 1014. By then, the wind had come back up to 21 knots. She recalibrated at the bench, rode in the margin again, and ran it. The group was tighter than the first. The range went quiet by the third string in a way that ranges do not usually go quiet. 34 Marines had been moving around, staging gear, talking low, doing what Marines do when they're waiting on someone else. By the third string, nobody was moving. They had drifted toward the line without anybody telling them to. Reeves was among them. He had his arms crossed, and he was watching through his own scope, and he did not say anything. She ran 5 strings. She called her wind before every one of them. She wrote in her data book between every string. She did not rush. She did not pause dramatically. She did not look at the crowd that had formed on her left flank. She treated the wind like a problem that had a solution, and she was the one who had worked it out. The final score, the aggregate across 5 strings and declared non-qualifying crosswind, was the highest I had recorded in 11 years at that range. I did not say so at the time. I wrote the number in the log, set the pen down, and looked at the canyon wall. The debrief was at 1,400 in the bay at the east end of the range. Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Harwick ran it, which was unusual for a skills validation. Normally that was Reeves's territory, but Yellen had apparently made a phone call sometime between the 3rd string and the close of the range. Harwick arrived with a manila packet under his arm. He let Reeves run the standard AAR for 20 minutes. Equipment notes, weather observations, individual scores. Then he said he wanted to address one item from the qualification roster, and he set the packet on the table and opened it. The document inside was 32 pages. The cover page was a classification header and a title. Below the title, in the standard author credit block, was a name and a call sign, Ember Ridge. Harwick read the title aloud. He read the author line aloud. He read one sentence from the abstract. The document was the branch gunnery qualification standard, the 41-page edition, and the abstract on the cover page of the classified version named the primary author. The derivation of the methodology and the evaluation criteria she had designed for non-standard weather conditions, specifically crosswind corridors of 15 to 25 knots. He closed the packet. The room was quiet for a moment. Reeves was sitting 6 chairs down from me. I watched his face go through something I don't have a clean word for. It wasn't shame exactly. It was more like the moment a man realizes that the ground he was standing on was a thing someone else had built, and that he never once thought to ask who built it. Harwick did not say anything else. He did not need to. Reeves stood up. He walked the length of the debrief bay, 16 feet, maybe 18, past 6 chairs and a folding table and the men sitting at it. And he stopped in front of her. He came to full attention. He rendered a formal salute and held it. She returned it. Clean, precise, no theater. The room came to attention without a command. All 34 of them, and Yellen and Harwick and me. I have been a range NCO for 17 years. I have stood at attention in a lot of rooms. That one I remember because of what it cost nobody to do it and what it had cost her before they did. After the bay cleared, I sat at the admin table for a while. I found the 2 halves of her qualification card where I had left them, under the corner of my log binder. Her name was printed on one half in block capitals. The qualification block was on the other half, still blank. I taped them together and put them in the front sleeve of my range binder. They are there now, behind the weather log from that Thursday. I did not tape them together as a lesson or a tribute. I taped them together because it was the most honest record I had of what I did that morning and what it said about me. The number she posted, the aggregate across 5 strings and 19 to 23 knot crosswind at Kessel Flats. I certified it in the log before I left the range. It still stands. I have run 41 qualification cycles since that Thursday. Nobody has touched it. I don't think they will.